God says, "Be still, my child, your victory is on the way." You're not tired because life is hard. You're tired because you've been strong for too long. Carrying things you never talk about, holding yourself together when everything inside you feels like it's falling apart, smiling when you don't have the strength, showing up when your heart just wants to rest. And the hardest part is not even the pain, it's the silence. It's praying and feeling like nothing is changing. It's asking God for a sign and hearing nothing back. And slowly, without even noticing, a question starts to grow inside you. Did God forget me? Did I do something wrong? Why is everyone moving forward and I feel stuck in the same place? But what if this moment is not what you think it is? What if this silence is not abandonment? What if what feels like delay is actually protection? Because there is something you need to hear right now, and it's not coming from me. It's coming straight to you. Be still, my child, your victory is on the way. Not someday, not in a distant future, it is already being prepared. Even now while you feel lost, even now while you feel tired, even now while you are questioning everything, God is not absent in your silence, He is working in it. And if you stay with this message, you will start to understand something that can change the way you see this entire season of your life. There is a kind of battle no one talks about. A battle that leaves no visible scars, no noise, no clear moment of impact. It is the battle of waiting. The kind where nothing seems to move, nothing seems to respond, and yet something inside you is constantly being stretched. You wake up, you go through your day, you try to stay strong, but deep down there is a quiet exhaustion. Not physical, emotional, spiritual. The weight of asking God for something that matters to you, and feeling like your voice is not reaching Him. The weight of believing and at the same time fighting doubt that keeps creeping in, and this is where most people break. Not in chaos, not in crisis, but in silence. Because chaos at least gives you something to react to. Silence gives you nothing. No direction, no confirmation, no visible progress. Just time passing and questions growing louder. You start replaying things in your mind. Did I miss something? Did I take a wrong step? Should I be doing more? And the more you think, the more restless you become. Because doing nothing feels like losing. Waiting feels like falling behind. But here is the truth that changes everything. The most painful seasons are not the ones where everything is falling apart. They are the ones where nothing seems to be happening. Because in those moments, you are not fighting circumstances. You are fighting your own thoughts. And what you don't see is that this invisible battle is not empty. It is not meaningless. It is a place where something deeper is being formed. Something that could not be built in movement, in noise, or in control. So before you assume that nothing is happening, ask yourself this. What if this silence is not the absence of God, but the presence of something you are not yet able to see? There is a reason God asks you to be still, and it is not because He wants you to suffer in silence. It is because movement most of the time is driven by fear. When you feel uncertain, your instinct is to fix, to act, to run, to take control of something just to feel safe again. But what if that urgency you feel is not faith pushing you forward, but fear pulling you out of position? Being still confronts you. It removes distractions. It exposes what is really inside you. The need to control, the anxiety about outcomes, the fear of losing time. And this is where something deeper begins to happen. Because God is not just concerned with what you receive. He is focused on who you are becoming. There are things you are asking for right now that require a version of you that does not yet exist. And if they were placed in your hands too early, they would not bless you, they would overwhelm you. What feels like delay is often protection. What feels like silence is often preparation. Think about it. If everything worked out the moment you asked, would you grow? Would you develop patience, discernment, strength? Or would you remain dependent on immediate answers? Stillness is not about doing nothing. It is about staying when everything in you wants to move. It is about trusting when there is no visible proof. It is about holding your ground without trying to force the outcome. And here is the shift you need to make. God is not slowing you down to hold you back. He is slowing you down so what is coming does not destroy you when it arrives. So instead of asking why nothing is happening, ask yourself a different question. What is God building in me that I cannot see yet? There is a part of God's work that you will never see while it is happening. And that is what makes this season so difficult to trust. Because you measure progress by what you can see, by what moves, by what changes in front of you. But God does not work on the surface first. He works underneath. Think about a seed. The moment it is planted, nothing visible happens. From the outside, it looks like the same empty ground. No movement, no growth, no sign of life. But beneath the surface, everything has already begun. Roots are forming. Strength is being established. The foundation is being built in a place no one can see. And this is exactly how God moves in your life. While you are focused on what is not happening, He is aligning what needs to come together. People you have not met yet. Opportunities that are not ready yet. Doors that cannot open yet because the timing is not complete. At the same time, something is happening within you. Your mindset is shifting. Your strength is increasing. Your dependence is changing. You call it delay. God calls it alignment. Because if what you are waiting for arrived without this hidden work, it would not fit your life correctly. It would create confusion instead of clarity, pressure instead of peace. And what God gives does not come to destabilize you. It comes to establish you. The problem is not that nothing is happening. The problem is that you are looking in the wrong place. You are watching the surface, while God is working in the unseen. So the next time you feel like everything is stuck, remind yourself of this. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean God is not moving everything. There is a danger in this season that most people don't recognize. It is not the waiting itself. It is what you choose to do because of the waiting. When nothing seems to happen, the pressure to act starts to grow. You begin to feel like you are wasting time, like you are falling behind, like if you don't do something now, you will lose your chance. And that is where many people step out of alignment. They don't lose the blessing because it wasn't meant for them. They lose it because they couldn't stay still long enough to receive it the right way. They move out of anxiety. They make decisions out of fear. They accept things that are not meant for them just to escape the discomfort of waiting. And in the moment it feels like progress. It feels like relief. But later it reveals itself as something else. Regret, confusion, exhaustion from carrying something that was never designed for you. Rushing creates an illusion of control, makes you feel like you are doing something, like you are taking charge of your life. But what it actually does is pull you away from what was being prepared for you. Because what comes from God does not require you to force it. It requires you to be positioned for it. And here is the truth that many people don't want to accept. Not every open door is from God. Some doors open to test if you will move without being led. Some opportunities appear to see if you will choose speed over alignment. So when you feel that urge to rush, to fix, to force, pause. Ask yourself, what is driving this decision? Is it peace or is it fear? Because many people didn't miss their victory. They just refused to wait long enough to walk into it the right way. There is a misunderstanding about what it means to be still. Many people hear those words and think it means doing nothing, staying passive, waiting without purpose. But that is not what God is asking from you. Stillness is not inactivity. It is alignment. Being still means you stop trying to control what only God can handle. It means you release the need to know every detail, every step, every outcome before you move. It means you choose trust over urgency, even when everything inside you is pushing you to act. Stillness is a posture. It is internal before it is external. You can be moving in life, working, making decisions, showing up every day, and still be in a place of stillness within. Because your peace is not coming from what is happening around you, it is coming from who you are trusting. To be still is to wait without panic, to believe without constant proof, to remain steady when circumstances try to shake you. It is standing in a place where your faith is not dependent on immediate results. And this is where the shift happens. Because when you stop reacting out of fear, you start responding with clarity. When you stop forcing outcomes, you become aware of direction. When you stop trying to make everything happen, you begin to recognize what is already being prepared. Stillness positions you. It places you exactly where you need to be when the moment arrives. Not early, not late, but aligned. So do not confuse stillness with weakness. It is one of the strongest decisions you can make, because it requires you to trust when you have every reason not to. And the question now becomes deeper. If stillness is not doing nothing, then what is it preparing you to receive? There are moments when everything in your life starts to feel uncertain at the same time. Things you expected to work out begin to fall apart. Doors you thought would open suddenly close. People you relied on start to distance themselves, and your first reaction is to think something is going wrong. But what if these are not signs of loss? What if they are signs of alignment? Because when God is preparing something new, He often begins by removing what no longer fits. And that process rarely feels comfortable. It feels like disruption. It feels like confusion. It feels like everything is being taken away at once. You feel tired, but you cannot quit. You feel like stepping back, but something inside you refuses to let go completely. There is a tension between wanting to give up and knowing you are not supposed to, and that tension is not random. It is a signal. Another sign is when things stop making sense. Plans that once felt clear now feel uncertain. Paths you were confident about no longer feel right. And instead of clarity, you are left with questions. But sometimes confusion is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that you are being redirected. You may also notice a growing awareness inside you, a sensitivity to things you ignored before, a deeper understanding of what drains you, what distracts you, what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. It is as if your perspective is shifting, even if your circumstances have not yet changed. And perhaps the most difficult sign to accept is this: you feel alone. Not because no one is around you, but because what you are going through feels personal, isolated, hard to explain. But that space is often where clarity begins. Because when external voices quiet down, you start to recognize the one that truly matters. So before you assume that everything is falling apart, consider this: what if everything is being rearranged? Because when things begin to shift in ways you did not expect, it is often not the end of something. It is the beginning of something you could not have created on your own. Be still, my child. You have been carrying questions I already have answers for. You have been trying to solve what I have already set in motion. I have seen every moment you thought I was silent. I have heard every prayer you felt when unanswered. And I have not forgotten you for a single second. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be for what I am preparing. What feels like delay to you is the space where I am arranging what must come together in the right way. If I moved when you wanted, you would receive something incomplete. And what I have for you will not come incomplete. I know you are tired. I know you have been strong for longer than you expected, but your strength is not being wasted. It is being built. Because what is ahead of you will require a version of you that does not break under pressure, that does not depend on immediate answers, that does not lose direction when things become uncertain. Do not confuse my silence with absence. I am closer than you think. I am working in places you cannot reach, in ways you cannot control, for outcomes you cannot yet understand. And when the moment comes, it will not need to be forced. It will come with clarity. It will come with peace. It will come in a way that you will know it could only have been me. So release what you are trying to control. Let go of the timelines you created. Trust the process you cannot see. Because your victory is not just coming. It is already being formed piece by piece in ways that will make sense at the right time. Stay where you are. Stay steady. Stay aligned. What if this moment you are living right now is not a pause, but a turning point? Not a delay, but a redirection. Not a sign that things are failing, but a sign that something greater is being positioned in a way you cannot yet see. You have been measuring your life by what has not happened, by what is missing, by what has not arrived yet. But what if the real shift begins when you stop focusing on what is absent and start recognizing what is being built? Because something is changing in you, the way you see things, the way you react, the way you endure. You are not the same person who started this journey, and that is not by accident. That is part of the process. Victory is not just an outcome waiting for you in the future. It is also the person you are becoming right now. Stronger, more aware, less dependent on what you can control, more aligned with what you are being led toward. So instead of asking when everything will finally make sense, ask yourself something deeper. Am I becoming the person who is ready for what I have been asking for? Because when that answer becomes yes, everything else follows. If this message reached you at the exact moment you needed it, then it is not coincidence. And maybe the only thing left for you to do now is to stay still long enough to see what God has already set in motion. There is something you need to confront, and most people avoid this part. Not everything you are waiting for is delayed only by time. Some things are waiting on you. Not your effort, not your ability, but your surrender. Because as long as you are holding on to control, you are not fully available for what God wants to place in your life. You say you trust, but internally you are still trying to manage outcomes, predict results, and protect yourself from disappointment. And this creates tension, a constant internal resistance. You are waiting, but not at peace. You are believing, but still afraid. You are hoping, but also preparing for the worst. Surrender is not giving up. It is releasing the need to control how everything unfolds. It is accepting that God's way will not always match your expectations, but it will always align with your purpose. And here's what most people don't realize. Partial surrender creates partial peace. You cannot hold on to fear and expect to feel calm. You cannot try to control everything and expect to feel guided. So the question is not just if you are waiting. The question is, have you truly let go? There are patterns in your life that this season is trying to break. Patterns of thinking, reacting, choosing. And if those patterns are not addressed, they will follow you into the very thing you are praying for. You may think the real problem is external. The opportunity, the relationship, the timing. But many times the real limitation is internal. The way you interpret situations. The way you respond under pressure. The way you define your own worth. God does not just change your circumstances. He transforms your perception. Because if your perception remains the same, you will recreate the same struggles in a different form. And this is why stillness becomes necessary. Because when everything slows down, your patterns become visible. You start to notice your triggers, your fears, your automatic reactions. Things you could ignore when life was moving fast. This is not punishment. This is exposure for transformation. Because what God is preparing for you cannot be sustained by the same mindset that created your past struggles. There is also something else happening that you may not have noticed. Your definition of victory is changing. At the beginning, you thought victory was a specific outcome, a door opening, a problem solved, a situation fixed, something external that would finally bring you peace. But now, after everything you have been through, something inside you is shifting. You are starting to realize that peace is not something you receive at the end, it is something you develop along the way. And this changes everything, because when your peace is no longer dependent on circumstances, you stop chasing outcomes out of desperation. You stop needing things to happen in a certain way to feel okay. You become stable, even in uncertainty. And this is where true strength is built. Victory is no longer just about what happens to you. It is about who you are while it is happening. And when that shift takes place, you are no longer waiting from a place of lack. You are standing from a place of alignment. There will be a moment when everything you have been waiting for starts to unfold. Not gradually in a way you can fully track, but suddenly in a way you cannot deny. Things that felt blocked will begin to open. Answers will come with clarity. Opportunities will appear without force. And what once required effort will begin to flow. And in that moment, you will understand something that you could not understand before. Why it took time. Why certain doors never opened. Why some people had to leave. Why you had to go through a season where nothing made sense. Because if it had happened earlier, you would not have recognized it. You would not have been ready for it. You might have even sabotaged it without realizing. Timing is not just about when something happens. It is about when you are able to receive it without losing it. And when that moment comes, it will not feel rushed. It will feel right. So now you stand at a point of decision. Not about what you will do next externally, but about how you will position yourself internally. You can continue resisting the process, questioning every moment, trying to force clarity where there is none. Or you can choose a different posture, a posture of trust. Not blind trust, but grounded trust. The kind that is built through everything you have already endured. The kind that understands that even when you do not see the full picture, there is a purpose being fulfilled. You are not stuck. You are being positioned. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. You are not delayed. You are being aligned. And if you can hold on to that, not just as words, but as truth, then this season stops feeling like a burden and starts revealing itself as a transition. Because your victory was never just about arriving somewhere. It was about becoming someone who can sustain what is coming. And now, the only thing left is this. Will you stay still long enough to receive it?